What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Day One Radio right here on Live Hip Hop Daily. I'm Maurice Garnett. I'm here with
Brandon LSK. What's happening? Appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate y'all listening. It's been a crazy week. Hopefully your Memorial Day weekend was healthy. Hopefully none of y'all got DUIs and you had a good time and ate good and drank good and, got some rest and relaxation. That is not the time to be getting
in trouble, because if you get in trouble, like, you ain't getting out of jail until Tuesday.
That's
if
real.
You're lucky.
That's super real. That is super real. Yeah. How was your weekend? We did get up at Jazz Fest.
Yeah, man. Like, that's one of my favorite times of the year, getting up with the homies at Jazz Fest. You know what I'm saying? It's like it felt like we had our own like craft brew party up in there, man. Everybody was like coming in there with their exclusive joints. Like, nigga, I got this new shit from Wyoming, nigga. I got this new stout from Delaware, nigga. You know.
That's how it is, man. Drink good, have a good time. It was tight, man. That's a whole lot going on. I think one of the things that popped off over the weekend, I'm not sure if this is going viral yet, but I feel like from some of the reactions it has, and I know you're not on social media that heavy, but did you
I'm not on there at all.
Did you see the Isaac Hayes thing?
That's the thing. Like, I'm in my world,
the third, not Isaac Hayes.
In my world, I guess that would qualify as going viral, because like I'm not on social media at all. And I started getting phone calls from people like, hey, man, you see what this guy said? You know what I'm saying? And then somebody called me like, hey, man, your boy Brandon said something too. I was like, damn, like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, your girl Nadine said something. I was like, so I was getting all kind of, messages from people asking me if I saw. So I guess it went viral because I ain't even on it.
Let's catch people up for those who are not familiar. Isaac Hayes III is one of the sons of soul singer, producer, all-around legend, Isaac Hayes. What does Isaac do? Is he a producer? I just know he be around.
I know that he has done voice work. I haven't followed much of his career and trajectory and all this stuff, but I know that I was introduced to him as a person who did a lot of like voice work and post-production for different companies and stuff. Not necessarily like a music producer, but a guy that did stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Okay, so he put out a post a few days ago saying ATL cranks out the majority of the current urban culture. That's debatable, but has zero power media. No Breakfast Club, no Everyday Struggle, no Big Boys Neighborhood, no TMZ. LA and NYC control the conversation ATL culture creates. Gotta change. Now, I don't know how much dude knows about media. I honestly think that this was a twofold thing. I think this was to create a conversation, and I think this was to promote his show that he has on Dash Radio.
And like I said, of the multiple phone calls that I got asking, man, what you think? What you hear? What you think? And I was like, this isn't the first time a statement like this has been said, so this isn't like exclusive to him. You know what I'm saying? So we can kind of I'm going to keep it to the message, because like the message is not new. You know what I'm saying? So
right, not at all.
But one thing I have noticed is most, if not all the time, that statements like that are made, they come from three particular profiles.
And what are those profiles?
The first profile is usually the person saying it got something to sell. They selling a book, they selling some clothes, they selling some shoes, they're selling their media personality, because they're like, yeah, man, I need to be on something on that quote unquote level. That's usually the first profile. They're selling something, and they are disappointed that there's nothing in their immediate area on that quote unquote level that they can reach out to get them in front of how many ever eyes that they feel that they think their product or their face deserves. The second profile is usually a person that really don't know what the fuck they talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't come from a bad place. It don't come from a bad place.
Place of ignorance.
You know what I'm saying? But like, they don't really know. And when I say don't know what the fuck they talking about, I'm saying they aren't aware. You know what I'm saying? Because like, when you make a statement like that, that's why so many people got offended. Because they're like, yo, so you don't listen to this radio show? You don't read this person's articles? You don't watch this? You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you make statements like that, you're assuming that there's nothing here that's generating anything. The third profile is usually a person who do know what's going on for the most part, they just choose for whatever reason, whether it be busyness or aloofness or whatever, they choose not to support the existing platforms that are here. So you got the person that's selling something, you got the person that don't really know what they're talking about, they speaking from a place of ignorance, and the person that do kind of know, they just choose not to support the existing platforms, which is why sometimes with statements like this again, like it always happens. Somebody makes that statement, and somebody swoops in with their cape and shield, like, I'm going to be the one that changes this because nobody else is doing this here. It's going to be me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's how that's my understanding of statements like I said, this statement isn't new. It's not exclusive to him. People have been saying stuff like that for a while. To address
the statement, I understand what he's saying when he says power media. I get that. Breakfast Club has a machine behind it. I don't necessarily think Breakfast Club represents New York City to the fullest extent, because that's like, and I honestly feel like people go there because that is the hot, not even morning show, it's the hot video show. Mm-hmm. Because who listens to Breakfast Club on the radio? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know no segments other than Donkey of the Day, because they promote that, and the interviews that they do. I have no idea what happens on that show when they don't have a guest that I want to see.
And yeah, a lot of people don't. I mean, does it even come in syndication here still?
I don't know. I don't think so. Everyday Struggle, again, machine behind it. Complex Media is behind it, and it was only really a power media situation for a very short time because of the synergy between Joe Budden and academics. Mm-hmm. Like when Wayno got on there, when not Charlamagne, what's my man's name? Star got on there. It wasn't the same at all. I don't necessarily consider Big Boy's Neighborhood to be power media. I feel like when he gets those super exclusive interviews, everybody pays attention. Other than that, it's just, the people that watch his normal subscribers. And I'm like, I don't understand how TMZ plays into this at all. Like, TMZ isn't one of those situations that I necessarily look at as
well, that's the thing. Like, TMZ is power media to a lot of people because, a lot of folks get their breaking entertainment news from that place. They get their rumors if they're into that. Because I remember sitting on panels where, because before this conversation I want to shout out a couple people. It's like, I remember sitting on panels where a conversation like this would again be had. Somebody would make a statement like this, and somebody would be like, "Man, Atlanta ain't got no TMZ," and somebody from Bossip could easily take offense to that. They're like, yo, we black owned and we in Atlanta. What the hell you talking about? There ain't no TMZ here. We are that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
the flip side of that is, but Bossip was owned by Moguldom, was now owned by Interactive One. Neither one of those companies are here. So it's kind of like
I mean they had an office here. Like, the same way CNN has offices all over the world.
Right, but what I'm saying is the headquarters was not here. The big decision makers were not necessarily here. I think that's what people kind of mean. But on the flip side, hell, if you talking about Ebro and them, Intercom's office ain't in New York. It's somewhere in Wyoming or some shit. Mm-hmm. So I get it. I get it 100%. That's a valid argument. But I have to say, like, several people responded. Shout out to all the people that mentioned our show. I agree with you about the 3 profiles. I think it's somewhat hypocritical, and I think the reason that it hasn't happened because we lack unity. Like, everybody's trying to do their own thing. Everybody want to be a boss. Everybody want to. If you from Atlanta, don't take offense. I feel like this is one of those places where as long as you got the mini mansion and the luxury car lease, it's all good. Like, you don't care what reality is, you care what the perception is. So if your shit look like it's popping, but you ain't really getting them numbers, you don't really care. Like, you buy the Instagram followers, buy whatever, and that's whack to me. Like, but I've had this conversation since we started, our situation. And when we were over at ABL and they're doing, great things, but I was just like, dude, internet radio is not the way. Like, we need to set up a podcast network. And I've been saying this for years. I've talked to so many people about doing it because radio is not a growing business. Radio is still a tangible business, But any kind of radio is not a growing business. If you're talking about satellite, internet, terrestrial, it's not growing, period. Like, data is king, and pretty much the only media that you can get almost accurate data from is podcasting or things on the internet that you can really pull numbers from where there's real analytics. So that's something that needs to be done. For whatever reason, people haven't done it. You know what I mean? We have the talent here. We have the business people here. We have the sales people here. We have the tech people here. They have it, and when I say talent, I mean on both sides of the mic. I don't really get it, but it hasn't happened. And
you bring up a great point, because like, you have to have the synergies of those industries that you just named working together to create that quote unquote power media. Like, you have to have those synergies working together, at least like in this time and beyond. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have somebody that's in the tech world to get you get your platform solidified and everything like that. You got to have the media professional that, knows how to maneuver, knows what to do, you know what I'm saying? And you have to have, the talent. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be like a popular face that gets a whole bunch of clicks and, okay, yeah, we power media now because this many people clicked on it.
Let's not forget that Breakfast Club was super regular until they happened to have that Ray J interview. That went super viral, where he was talking about what did he say?
The money team.
The money team, and what we got, pools inside and pools outside. What did he say? Some crazy shit.
Ray J be out here putting everybody on.
Cocaine Ray J is how the Breakfast Club got popping, and they'll admit that. But I feel like the Ricky Smiley Morning Show is a powerful entity because of they're on several different radio stations. He's on TV, I believe, still with the reality show. He also has Dish Network every day. And shout out to Head Crack, because Head Crack, I feel, and the Brat obviously are like the hip hop components of that show. But I feel like that skews to an older audience to an extent. Yeah. You have
my mom watches that, and she asked me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I remember I was talking. She asked me. She told me about something about Ricky Smiley. Like, I didn't really have any kind of retort to it other than, oh yeah, man, I had Head Crack on my radio show. Oh, for real? You had Head Crack on your show? And, you know what I'm saying? That was about it. You know what I'm saying?
And then, like, you have the 85 South show. I feel like they do great numbers. I feel like the show is funny, but I'm like, why can't somebody be involved on the business side instead of running to New York to get a deal to create a situation here? Because ain't none of them trying to pay their bills off the show. So why not take a chance? As far I'm assuming, I don't know, but why not take a chance and work with a collective of shows, put together a network,
like existing entities.
Exactly.
Like it's the same. It kind of reminds me of that slogan. I don't know if slogan is the word, but like that phrase. When they say, pick up a shovel. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember. How every time something tragic would happen, folks like, man, we need to start something that does this and saves people from that. It's like, shoot, man, there's like umpteen black associations out here that are doing that work. Join one of them and pick up a shovel. Right. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. I got to start my own shit and my own movement.
And I think part of it's ignorance. A lot of people don't necessarily know what's going on out here, but some people do, and some people be so caught up in their own world that they don't people, but there's no excuse. It's kind of like when we was talking about Puff and Jay doing the app for the black businesses. Like, well, bruh, this shit exists. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so I get it, but at the same time, like, why not get with something established? And also, like, Donald D-Day was on, I don't know if it was via text or it was on IG, but he was talking about how Rolling Out has been here for almost 20 years now. But it's like, that's a business situation. Like, we ain't gonna get into all of that, but there's a reason that they're not looked at as that power player. And I'm not gonna say that they should probably be looked at as more of a power player than they are looked at, because I feel like they've done a good job of pivoting into technology and video, and they have some good young talent over there. But at the end of the day, bro, like I really feel like it's a situation where if you want something, create something, and people got to get together and kill their egos. Like there's a lot of talent, like you have, and it's a lot of varied talent. Like you have the Digital Good Times, you got Ty does her show, you got Meg does a Cash Colored Cannabis. You have so many shows on a few different networks, and some are out there solo. But it's like, why can't we just work together? Like, and even though I believe like if we wasn't the first, we were one of the first to do podcasting in Atlanta consistently for sure. But like, I don't give a fuck about that. I want everybody to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. Like. I feel like 100, and it's also like the machine. Like and I said this on Instagram. That's probably what somebody called you about. Dude, I don't care if it's Charlie Rose, Howard Stern, Breakfast Club, Angie, somebody locally, somebody in another country, Zane Lowe, whatever. There is nobody consistently doing better interviews than we do on this show, period. And I'm not just saying that based on how I feel, but we've had several artists come in here and be like, this is the best interview I've ever had.
And that's another point to this conversation as well. I don't want to place blame on the situation, but it's something that has to be brought up. It's like, I seen folks out there saying they were trying to like blame artists. I don't want to blame artists, but the thing is, a lot of times you will have artists come to Atlanta and do media, and it's like it's not their job to promote any interview that they do, but you always see them do media here, whether it's our show, somebody else's show, whoever, and they don't tell nobody they was on the damn show most of the time. But the minute they get on Sway, right, Breakfast Club, Big Boy, like some other market, they all up in they, flicking it up selfie. Look where I'm at. Look 100%. Who I'm with. Look what I did. And a lot of times, those conversations that they have in those markets, with the exception of a few, they don't really be knowing who you are for real. They got you on the show because you a dick pic leaked out. You've been spotted with some stripper. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You said something crazy on Instagram that went viral. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't really even get into your history, your creative process. They just trying to get clickbait.
And I understand the game because it's like, all right, I have an album coming out, I have a movie coming out, I have whatever coming out. I need eyes and ears on this. So if show A has this many eyes and ears, show B has this many eyes and ears, I'm going to go. Priority is the one that has the most. I get it. Play the game. But on the flip side, your label, your publicist, your management, when they have up-and-coming artists, they know that they're not getting them on Sway. They know that they're not getting them on Breakfast Club. So they come to the supposedly smaller shows, and sometimes we say yes, sometimes we say no. If you cool and you going to look out and you going to play the game as well, we going to look out. And if there's talent, if it's some bullshit, we not. Period. Not going to compromise integrity, period. But it's one of those things, man, like, I get it, but at the same time, like, he's absolutely right, because I feel like a lot of people feel like the ball is going to be here forever, and it's not. Like, nothing lasts forever, period. There was a time where you probably thought New York was never going to lose it, L.A. was never going to lose it. People in Houston probably thought they was going to have a 5-year run. You know what I mean? The Bay thought they was going to have a huge run, and everybody got deals. The ball does not stay here forever, period, and it's not going to. There's going to come a time where rappers are going to say, okay, well, all of us are going to go to Miami to record. We're not coming to Atlanta to record no more. There's going to come a time where whoever gets in office is like, we tired of doing this tax break on the movies. The movie people going to leave Atlanta like they left Detroit. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like, nothing lasts forever, especially in entertainment, because all this shit is smoke and mirrors. So if you want power media in Atlanta, you need to support. If you come on a show, like Reese said, you need to support via your social media. You need to let people know what it is, let people know how good of a time you can have, and let people know that they need to come mess with you. And a lot of people do. We've gotten a lot of guests based off of other artists. You know what I mean? And we've also gotten guests that some of the big shows have not been able to get based off of respect. Yeah. So it works both ways. But at the same time, we got to work with each other. Like, I honestly feel like there needs to be some kind of if this is gotten to be a big deal, there needs to become some kind of a summit where we sit down somewhere privately, some artists, some management, some media people, and we figure out how we can support each other and figure out how everybody can make money, how everybody can have notoriety and all of that stuff. Because, I saw a couple people like it's super hypocritical for them to even speak on this, tweeting it and retweeting it and stuff. And I added Coach K, and then I was like, dude, the irony of it is you think this is the case, but you haven't come on the show. I see you regularly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You haven't come on the show. Migos ain't been on the show. I've interviewed Migos when I was getting a check from a company that they were doing business with. You know what I mean? Like, so we've sat down with Yachty and did stuff that went viral that was all over, a whole bunch of websites and TV and stuff. He ain't been on the show despite them saying they wanted to come on the show. Mm-hmm. So it goes both ways. At all. So yeah, that's that's going on.
I want to shout out a few folks that I've considered Power Media in Atlanta. Shout out to us. Shout out to ABL. Shout out to the homie B-High over there at 107.9. Shout out to DJ Smalls. Shout out to Terrence from Hip Hop since 1987. Yeah. Shout out to Mecca. Like there's people that are doing great things and telling great stories in this city. You know what I'm saying? That whole Power Media thing, like I said, usually folks that are really, really, really tripping off of that are folks that have something that they are selling their damn self. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really usually hear that kind of statement coming from somebody that's like, man, I'm doing my thing. I'm straight. I'm cool. I'm doing my thing. It's usually coming from folks that have something to sell. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that you can't have a genuine strain in your heart about the situation. I ain't saying that. But usually it's coming from somebody that has something to sell.
Yeah, that's super real, super real. Did you have you been keeping up with Hoop? I know you.
Yeah, man. I mean, but you know what? No, like it's kind of easy to keep up with basketball because nothing changes. It's like, bro, that's real talk. If I would have messed around, like went in a cave, went to prison 4-5 years ago, and I came out today, I'd be like, oh damn, I ain't miss a thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it is pretty easy to keep up with Hoop, even if you know what I'm saying, ain't plugged in all the time. Ain't a damn thing changed.
Hey man, that is hilarious. So are you I hear a lot of people complaining that it's been Warriors Cavs for 4 years in a row in the NBA finals, but I hear, I'm like, dude,
what can you do?
Like, what else do you want to happen? Like the two healthiest and best teams are in there, It's what can you say? One thing that I find interesting is the narrative that it is amazing that LeBron has made it to 8 straight finals. And it is somewhat amazing. I feel like people need to just allow this man to be great and stop trying to compare it to other stuff. And I think we've had this conversation in regards to music.
Yeah, it's like this is a very it's a very unique situation that can't really be compared to much else. Because I mean, like even when you look at him as the player and person that we know him as, it's like this dude has been in the public eye under scrutiny since his junior year of high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been under – hell, I remember reading about him in Slam Magazine in his freshman year of high school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's like he's been consistently under the microscope since 9th grade. And to be able to, like, grow into this dominant force that he has as a professional and go to the highest level of competition in your sport for damn near a decade straight, especially this year with – I mean, GM leaves at the beginning of the season. Your point guard leaves. You know what I'm saying? You make all these trades to get players that are in the twilight of their careers. You trade them for young dudes that ain't even sniffed the playoff game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you still get this team all the way to the finals. It's
I feel that, but also we got to look at who he's played. Particularly this year. I mean, we've gone through. I mean,
he's like
Victor Oladipo, the two guys in Toronto.
They don't deserve names.
No,
no more.
No. Not till next year when they ball out again. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, like, bro, like that's not exactly murderer's row. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude.
I mean, murderers. Granted, yeah, like it ain't like he had to go through a mid 2000s Celtics or Pistons on the way. Like I understand what you're saying.
It's like I'm like I think it's something that we'll always remember, but at the same time, hell, it's like 8 Celtics that have been to 7 straight or more finals. Like we talk about this like it's unprecedented.
Well, I'll be like now, like who are these Celtics that you speak of?
I mean, I'm not just talking about the bums. I'm talking about Sam Jones went to 9 straight finals. I believe Sam Jones is in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, Bill Russell went to 12 straight and won, or 10 straight or something, and won 9 of them. Won 11 out of 12 titles. I'm like, this isn't unprecedented.
I mean, it's still. I think it still deserves to be gloated over. I mean, like, granted,
100%, 100%. It does.
And it's like, and when you put in like time like that, I mean, granted, like us as writers and journalists, like we have a deep respect for history, things that came before us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like in this context, you're like, yeah, this is some greatness. Because like a lot of us were not around to witness Bill Russell. All we can do is read about it and hear stories. So like to actually be seeing this, like, yeah, I can see how people are getting caught up in their feelings and seeing this. Like, man, I have never seen this before. You know what I'm saying? Like you haven't seen it before. You've heard of it. You know what I'm saying? You've read about it, but it's like to see it with your own eyes. Like I was joking with somebody the other day. Like there's a generation of kids out there right now. Up until last year, all they knew was a black president and LeBron in the championship. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a generation of folks walking around like that's all they damn know. And it's like that's something else, man. That's something else. You know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So what's your prediction?
I think it's gonna be about the same as last year. It'll probably be Warriors in 5. Like, you know, it'll probably be the same as last year, and that's a stretch because I mean, hell, you know, he doesn't have Kyrie. You know, I mean, Kevin Love will snap out every once in a while.
Well, he might not even play game 1 because of concussion protocol.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm going to give them one game. You know what I'm saying?
It's Bron. You got to give him at least one game. Like it's LeBron. Like, it'll likely be one of the home games. You know what I'm saying? It'll likely be one of the home games. Yeah. And, I like that it's back. It's still 2-2-1-1-1 and not 2-3-2. I hated that 2-3-2 format. I also would. I think Warriors in 5 if Andre Iguodala is healthy.
So you're saying if he's
not healthy, it'll probably go 6. For 2 reasons. The Warriors have not been playing like the Warriors consistently in a minute. Mm-hmm. Secondly,
because they had everybody on the floor at the same time.
Andre Iguodala not being healthy throws off everything, and I don't think people who really don't watch hoop get that because they think he's just another piece. He ain't just another piece. He's one of the catalysts for real. Also, I know that this is a narrative. I don't think that this Cavs team is as trash as everybody tries to make them out.
Oh no, they're easy targets for jokes.
Exactly, easy target. They have talent on the team. They just haven't been playing together long enough to fully gel.
They've just been playing together since All-Star game.
But winning a 7-game series helps you get to that point. Jeff Green had a good game. You know what I mean? You got, I don't know what the hell is wrong with Jordan Clarkson, but other than that, it's whatever. But I think that they'll make it.
Like he's one of those guys that has never sniffed playoffs. So
yeah, I think that makes it somewhat competitive. Also, Kevin Durant got to get his head right. Like, I have not seen Kevin Durant play so consistently un-Kevin Durant like in my life. Like, I was just like, what is this dude doing? And again, if you don't know hoop, you probably, 30 points, he hit the big 3, whatever, dude. Like, that dude looks lost out there. I don't know if it's something going on in his personal life or whatever, but hopefully he gets it together by the finals. Sticking with sports, man, what's your thoughts on this, the NFL thing that came out about players cannot boycott. They can either stand for the anthem or they can sit in the locker room.
Well, I mean,
and I know what you think about that already. I'm pretty sure we've discussed the thoughts on that. But I really want to know what you think about so many people calling now for a boycott of the league.
Of the NFL.
Yeah,
because the NFL finally more people are kind of calling for boycott because NFL actually took a stance. Before these last couple of years, they didn't really take a stance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They were just like, we really would like to stay out of this, actually. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like the boycott wasn't that strong. It was so emotion-based off of decisions that weren't even made. You know what I'm saying? But now that they have actually came out and put a stamp on something like, okay, this is the deal, now folks feel more emboldened to actually boycott. You know what I'm saying? Because they've stepped out and made a statement. Now, what did you think I was going to say? As far as like,
I think that you was going to say what you've been saying, that you ain't been watching it anyway.
No. What I was going to say is, this ruling is actually a return to how football was 10 years ago. Because if you notice, like, when you were watching football, the only time we cared about the national anthem was the Super Bowl.
Right.
Because they would have Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince, whoever singing it.
Right.
There was a time 10 years ago where it's like players just stayed in the locker room.
Before the deal with the armed forces.
Exactly. So it's like, if anything, it's more so of a return to the original rule. Is just under a public spotlight. Because like 10, 15 years ago, players would usually just stay in the locker room during the anthem because they back there getting taped up, getting them last minute roids shot up in their ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, they doing their thing, trying to get amped up for this game. So they ain't really trying to just be out there watching the flag and cheerleaders and jets fly over the stadium and all that. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, I think it was the NFL trying to compromise, being like, look, we're going to try to make this to where it's like, okay, we're just going to go to what we originally used to do. But if you are out there, you can't do this. So it's like, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it because they're still giving cats a choice to, okay, well, if I don't want to stand for the anthem, I won't be out there. You know what I'm saying?
I think where the issue comes in is
you're stifling voice.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But that's what they do. Like, you know, they can't dance in the end zone. You know what I'm saying? You can't wear anything outside of the uniform. Yeah. You can't take your helmet off on the field. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they do. You know what I'm saying?
It's like with everything we discuss here, where I feel like everything is timely as far as when people want to be against something. I think it wasn't as convenient last year to boycott. So this year I see so many people saying they're done or whatever. And for me, I'm very curious to see how this is going to play out. You have like congressmen like Keith Ellison has come out and called for a boycott. Like that's major. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Even though he's a very far left guy, that's still a major. He's still part of the system. You have J. Cole, who has a huge voice, who's called for a boycott from what I understand. And just Sean King, who, you know, obviously, I don't know if you're a fan of his reporting, writing, or not.
It's like, I wouldn't say, I appreciate it, but man, it's like, it's the dude we talking about sometimes. It's like
a little ambulance chasey.
That and, you know, just one of the main reasons I don't be watching the news like that. Like, bruh, you folks mess around, fall down one of his rabbit holes. You're like, man, bro, there ain't no hope for life on this planet. You know what I'm saying? It's
I feel you. So he's reporting that several players have personally told him they're going to boycott, and the aim is to get 25% of the players to sit. So I'm like, does a boycott mean that you staying in the locker room? Does a boycott mean that you ain't coming to the game? Does a boycott mean you going to kneel and take the fine? What does a boycott really mean? Does a boycott mean you like Eric Reed and Colin Kaepernick?
And that's the thing about that boycott word, and this can go across societies, platforms, all that. We people have to start getting a lot more specific with boycott. Like, what is the action that is going to be taking place when you just throw that word out there? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, it's not always going to be as simple as don't ride the bus. You're going to hurt them in the pockets. Don't ride the bus, or don't shop there. You know what I'm saying? Like, with something like this is very nuanced because, I mean, you're boycotting. Now you're technically taking food out the mouth and money out the pockets of other black men who just trying to work a damn job. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that, bro. But at the same time, man, come on, man. Like, I get it. We both got homies that played in the league, whatever. That's cool. And I'm not knocking. I can't count nobody money. I'm not trying to get in nobody pockets. But, bro, sometimes you got to look at something outside of yourself.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and I feel like that's why Colin Kaepernick gets so much respect from me. I really feel like even more than him, this Eric Reed thing is going to throw them on their head because Eric Reed, one of the best safeties in the league, period. He might be the best safety in the league. So just for him not to be able to get a job is some BS. And, like, I honestly feel like a lot of this is a cash grab. I feel like these owners know that this thing is blowing up. The NFL is not a long-term investment. When you have former NFL players saying that I'm not going to allow my children to play football, when you have Pop Warner numbers dwindling every single year, when you have prep numbers that are not the same as they were before, and you have this concussion protocol, and they don't even use the best safety. What you doing, huh? They don't even use the best, the safest equipment. So I feel like they got to know this is kind of a lick. Like, so we might as well just do what we can and stay in the good graces of the right-wing people that are running the country right now. And that's that. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. But I'm surprised at how many people that I know personally and just around the world that are like, yo, we done. Like I said, I know people that play like multiple fantasy football leagues, and they look like, I'm not watching, I'm not playing fantasy, I'm not doing none of that. And as I always say, and I've said it on this show several times, watch what you want to watch. If you trying to affect the bottom line, stop buying companies that sponsor them, that advertise with them. Let those companies know why you are not buying and what they advertise and what they sponsor.
You gotta be specific.
Stop on social media. Everything you put on social media is an algorithm. Stop writing NFL. Stop writing names of teams. Stop writing names of players. You're helping it, whether it's negative or positive. You're still helping it in the algorithm. You're helping it bump up in the Facebook search or the Twitter search or whatever. Like, that's free advertisement. Like, you're really helping the situation, even if you're complaining about something. I don't think people really understand that. So watch what you type, watch what you say, all of that. And I think one of those examples, a glaring example, super recent example of how that tactic is effective is Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She came out on wilding out as she always does. And it's funny that everybody is saying it's because she put talking about Valerie Jarrett, who was one of President Obama's chief aides, I believe, very well-respected woman, coming out and saying that the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a child, referring to her. Just some super insulting. And so many people are saying that this is the reason why everybody started calling, but nobody is talking about how she got at Chelsea Clinton, calling her Chelsea Soros Clinton, who, George Soros, who we talked about on the show, who, helps fund Black Lives Matter, but that's a whole nother conversation. But Chelsea responded to her, and Roseanne responded talking about, sorry to have tweeted incorrect info about you. Please forgive me. By the way, George Soros is a Nazi who turned in his fellow Jews to be murdered in German concentration camps and stole their wealth. Were you aware of that? But we all make mistakes, right, Chelsea? So everybody talking about the Valerie Jarrett thing. Ain't nobody talking about that. I'm pretty sure, especially after George Soros' spokespeople responded, that's the reason that a whole lot of people were contacting sponsors and advertisers talking about this broad got to go.
You think so?
I think so. You'd start calling people Nazis and bringing in Jewish people run Hollywood. You start bringing that in and you're being insulting and it's not factual. So it's like she's just like off the wheels. So the show had already finished its initial run. It was supposed to come back, I believe, September 13th, the Roseanne show.
Yeah, it was like the #1 rated show on
that
they
made
network,
a killing.
You know,
they made a killing. So now they're saying it's a wrap because ABC has a black lady in charge now, so they're trying to switch stuff up a lot. And then not only have they said it's canceled, they gave her the Cosby treatment and they took the reruns of the old show off of Paramount, TV Land, and CMT. So she just got hit in the pockets. If y'all don't know, that syndication money is good.
What's that term called in college sports? The thing that they did to SMU with the death
Oh,
penalty.
the death. They hit him with the death penalty. Yeah. So we'll see how long it lasts. I thought it was interesting that Wanda Sykes, who was a consulting producer, quit like today, like before all this shit happened.
Which shows you that things like that had been going on and being said just now. And I mean,
it shows you that the check was good and she saw the smoke coming and she got out of Dodge. It ain't like it was less racist today than it was.
Right. Like I'm saying, it's like you know what I'm saying, a lot of been going on, but it's like even with that show coming back, it's like, because I used to enjoy watching that show on syndication back in the day. I was like, damn, this show actually fun. I was watch it. I used to like not watch it. I was like, that's them white folk, poor white folk. I don't want to watch that. But then you watch a couple episodes, you see it's funny, and I'm like, shit, on the low, like, my family actually leaned more towards this than the Cosby Show, you know what I'm saying? As far as like working class and trying to make, I was like, shit, I'm finding myself relating to these folk. And this shit funny. You know what I'm saying? But the way that they brought it back this season, where it was like intently on some old, hey, Trump supporters need entertainment too. That's why I was like, all right, man. Like, I don't know if I can rock with y'all on that. Like, granted, they over there and I'm over here, but it's like, when you let it be known that, like, look, this is why we thought it would be a good idea to bring this show back. You know what I'm saying? And then you see episodes like, the time where I think it was like they had a Muslim neighbor. And they were trying
I haven't watched it.
You know what I'm saying? They were trying to call, immigration on them because, man, they got bombs and they doing something over there. And it's like, I've seen episodes of show. Like, I think Carmichael's show had an episode like that when they had a Muslim neighbor. But it's like, it was presented in a truthful and funny context. When they did, it's like, yo, man, you are already pandering to a crowd that really actually believes that. So this is more so detrimental than it is entertaining.
I mean, it's to an extent, it's propaganda. And I'm not one of those people who think propaganda is a negative thing. You have positive and negative propaganda, but it becomes dangerous when you go that far and people already relate to who you are off of camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
We living in a weird time, man. It's and we got one of her on our on this side too, and Kanye. But
but do you think that in this world of media, do you think Netflix will pick it up? Because the show was originally supposed to go to Netflix, and then ABC swooped in with the man. Legacy, man, please come back over here. The show was supposed to go on Netflix, and then ABC swooped in and got it. So do you think that they'll just be like, we're just going to go ahead and go to Netflix with it then? You know what I'm saying?
It depends, because also, like, we talking about...
Netflix got hella racist stuff on there, too, that a lot of folks just don't know about.
You also got to remember, this is Disney we talking about. Like, let's not think that they just going to be like, this is a cash cow for us and we just gonna let you walk to another network and make money off of something that we poured millions of dollars of advertising into. That ain't finna happen.
Yeah.
Like, if it happens, they getting a cut. It's always a backdoor deal. Like, as Tariq Nasheed always said, they don't get fired, they get reassigned. So trust me, her bank account ain't empty.
Oh no! It was interesting. I was reading an article. I think it was in Ad Age. They were like just talking about some of the numbers, like the actual things that this decision affects, and they were just like saying how like this decision is pretty ballsy on their part because like they was like just going into what's it called upfronts, where it's like they were just about to get all of the next season's advertising money committed, like deposited. And they pulled the plug like right before that. And they said like the money was going to be damn near like triple what they got this year. They said they might have ran ads for like what, $100 to $200,000 for 30 seconds. They said season 2 they was gonna be getting damn near $500,000.
Yeah, I believe.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like for them to decide, like, yeah.
But at the same time, though, bruh, doesn't Disney own Marvel?
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about $500,000. They making billions off a movie. Like, you can take that in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. Like, it's like that's like me letting you hold $20. It's like, bro, don't worry about it, man. You know what I mean? Like, we homies. It's good. So yeah, they know what it is. I mean, I honestly don't. Granted, this decision probably is one of those decisions in this current climate that had to be made. Like, you already have Blackish, which is one of their other very successful shows, where the showrunner is reportedly considered leaving because of creative control, and they wouldn't let them do the kneeling episode, where they do all this other racist stuff on the network. And it's even though Disney is not what it used to be as far as being so family oriented, you still really can't have a woman calling a black that's politically respected woman a freaking ape. Like, you can't have a woman talking about one of the most powerful men in this country is a descendant of Nazis who sold Jews out. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't be aligned with that kind of foolishness. It's one thing to be the president and say a bunch of stuff. You get checked in a different way. But when your check is coming from someone, you got to play the game. And she wasn't playing the game. She got out of pocket, and they smacked her on her hand, and that's what it is. So a little lighter note, did you listen to the Pusha T album?
I listened to it in the car once. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do need
Daytona.
I do need to revisit it again, because it's like, I was telling folks over the weekend, it's like I kind of tuned Buddy out a while ago. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I said, it's like broken record. You know what I'm saying? It's like damn,
you don't
man,
like luxury designer drug dealer music?
No, it's like it's cool. Like, you might hear a clever line here and there. You're like, oh, that was nice, but for the most part, it's like, man, like, this ain't sticking to my ribs. This ain't getting me through the day. Like, and that's what I usually listen to music for and expect out of people that are crowning themselves. Like, I'm the greatest. I'm the this.
He
I'm the
definitely
that.
ain't got no
You know what I'm
self-esteem
saying?
issues whatsoever.
So I was like, so when I heard it, I was like, you know, this is cool. But like we were discussing earlier, I do appreciate that he chose to go the 7-song route. That's a trend I would like to see more people do. I was like, oh, this was a solid listen. Like, it was 7 songs. It wasn't plotting. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like excruciating to listen to and sit through. It was like,
to be fair, if you can't put together 7 solid songs, you probably shouldn't be making music.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, it's that shouldn't be that difficult. I'm kind of with you. I enjoy figuring out how many different ways Pusha can say the same thing, because he's a dope rapper, like one of the best of his ilk, for sure. I expected more from the project, from the beats, not from him. I thought the beats were kind of average, average to good. There was nothing great on there to me. And if this is what they say that Kanye produced, Tiana, his own stuff, the joint with him and Cudi and Nas, if all of it is gonna sound like this, I'll pass. I feel like
I'll give Buddy the benefit of the doubt. I think, dude, right now he might have he might be on his early 90s RZA. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking he might be doing that. It's like, okay, I'm going to make this kind of beat for this artist, these kind of beats for this person. I don't think he's going to, like, you know,
because those
everything
beats were great for Pusha.
Right.
They're not great overall. Like, I just, it's not a repeat listener for me.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I listened to it once. I've listened to a couple songs a few more times, and that's that. It's not something I'm going to come back to. But then again, I've never been the biggest Pusha T fan. You know, Malice was my favorite dude in the clips.
Mine too.
So I just thought it was more substance for me. But yeah, it's cool. He kept going at Drake again. He gets at Drake on Infrared, and Drake responds.
Bruh, like, I had a newfound respect for Buddy after that. Like, I was like, man, he on your ass, bruh. That album came out midnight Friday, which means folks ain't really listened to it until around like 9 or 10 o'clock that morning. Then the opinions start coming out around lunchtime, around 11 or 12. Then they had a diss track on goddamn SoundCloud by 2:30. I was like, hey man, he on your ass, bruh. Like I was like, bravo to you on that, dog. Like you ain't taking a week. You know what I'm saying? You ain't sending out no warning shots on Twitter like, I'm in the booth right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just was like,
He never moves like that. They're always strategic. But do you actually think that this wasn't recorded a while ago?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, listening to it, I feel like he had the skeleton and the structure down. The first half, he's super offbeat, like a fucking Talib Kweli that actually sells records or something. Because like he's trying to fit in all of these words into the line where it doesn't really go.
But see, that's the thing that may also be evidence that he did just make it.
But that's what I'm saying. Let me finish. First minute to minute and 10, super offbeat. Then he gets into the groove. I feel like part of the record was done. Part of it was the added thing, the stuff he did at the beginning. I don't know what Drake has to do with Jamaica because, you know, doopy or duppy or whatever means ghost. And, you know, Jamaican slang, I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Well, you know, like he's big in that world, like through like all the cats in London, all the Caribbeans
you're right.
in Toronto. Right. So it's like this, like part of his
I know
lingo.
He takes on a different persona every album, so it's what it is. So I thought that was somewhat interesting. He's really going at Ye and Quentin Millard more than he's going at Pusha, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I wouldn't say that he was going at Quentin Millard, which is crazy because, like, dude,
it was like collateral damage.
No, like, dude gets dragged into something all the time. I mean, and it's like I don't know if y'all been keeping up with this man. I mean, this man done lost
through a lot.
He done lost a leg.
Yeah.
He done got jumped by Meek Mill people and shit. It's like. This man has been going through some shit after what was supposed to be a crowning achievement. Like, bruh, I got some writing credits on the Drake album. And it seems like that shit has like ruined his life from that point on.
Maybe he's not a nice person. I don't know.
Damn.
I never met the guy. That's a lot of bad shit to be happening with one person.
But it's like, man, it's like, you know, like, I mean, he got dragged in on the Pusha T song going at Drake. Yeah. And then Buddy comes back like, look, man. You know,
he seems to be taking it all in stride. He did post the thing, like, because Drake said found him at Kroger, and he was like,
it was Publix.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to respect that. Like, keep it at 100. You got to respect that. And I will Pusha respond.
He did, and he like send out a tweet.
No, I'm talking about with a record. And I know you always get on these rappers that they battle on social media.
Right. It's like,
can I make a statement?
Sure.
Yo, while y'all was recording about 10 minutes ago, he showed me the phone and it said Pusha just responded on Funk Flex show or whatever.
Oh,
with a freestyle or with?
Oh,
so is he responding like a
rap?
Oh,
okay, that's interesting.
But I would like to know y'all opinion.
He went for the juggler.
Okay. Can I know y'all opinion on the album cover though?
I think it was tasteless.
I thought it was tasteless as well.
Yeah. Now that shows that Kanye is still the he want to oversee everything because. If you watch the interview that he had before,
that was Kanye's idea.
Like, how do you do that? This is my album.
My thing is, if you were going to he was saying that the premise of the album is Daytona is his favorite watch. Timing. I don't know what a bathroom filled with drugs has to do with timing. And personally, I feel like if you're going to exploit somebody's drug habit, you could have took a picture of Kanye's tour on the last tour on whatever dressing room he was in and put that as the album cover. Whitney Houston is dead.
Word, that was
her daughter is dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's super disrespectful. Like, and I ain't feeling that. Like, that's some sucker shit to me. But, you know, I'm not in Hollywood.
So then if you was in Pusha's position, because if he would have did said all
you really
that,
think he has a choice?
The album ain't coming out then. And that's kind of whack. That's how.
You really think Pusha T has a choice?
Oh, nah. The way he said it, he said, yeah. He called me in the morning like, yo, this is the album cover. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it is what it is. I will be listening to Pusha's response on Hulk Hogan, Flex Hogan's, or no, the chimney. Now he's the chimney because he wants all the smoke. He said that the other day on the chimney. I think Funkmaster Flex is the police. Personally, he talks way too much shit and nobody's fucked him up. He has to be the police. Period. Are you looking forward? No, before we get into that, with Drake, you have to really respect how strategically he moves. This dude will respond when somebody is at their weakest. Like, that's why he got a Ye. Come on now. He wasn't responding to Ye when Ye was touring the world, selling out shows, floating over the top of the crowd. He wasn't responding to none of that. He had Kendrick been dissing Drake for... I can't see that shit from that far away.
Sambo Drake, dog.
Sambo Drake.
Oh my God.
Wow.
You gotta do it too, dope boys. It's already out.
Dang.
We're going to have to listen.
Samboed him.
We will have to listen. So, Kendrick been dissing Drake for years. He ain't said a word. I think the greatest thing that I saw was Royce posting on Twitter, I wish these niggas would, with the laughing emoji. Nobody wants no smoke with Royce or Kendrick. Period. Period. You gotta get on the mic.
On the beef side, it's all popularity. Drake gonna win all popularity.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's
Well, I understand that to an extent, but you also have to put into context real life versus perception. Perception wise, Drake and Kendrick's popularity are essentially neck and neck. They just have different audiences. Royce is nowhere near as popular as Drake, but you also need to be able to go to Detroit. And you also need to be able to be safe. Kendrick is just as popular. You definitely need to go to LA, and you live in LA. And that TDE shit runs very, very deep into things that we won't even talk about on air. So they don't want no smoke. Period. It ain't you still got to be safe. There's certain things you can say. I honestly feel like this stuff with Drake and Pusha, it's a sport. Pusha said it was a sport. Like, we rapping. Like it is, and I respect that. That's what it should be. It should always be like that. Nobody should be getting killed. Nobody should be getting beat up. None of that. But Drake he's a master at that marketing for sure. I got to give his team is super on point. Because as we were discussing before we got on the air, like, these songs haven't been great. Like, that he's been dropping, but they do extremely well because of timing, because of beats, because of marketing. Like, I can't knock it. Yay album. Are we looking forward to this? Are we not caring? What are we doing? It's supposed to be Friday, right?
I'm not caring because, I mean, the last two he's given us, what been Yeezus and Life of Pablo.
I haven't liked the Kanye
like
album since the
I'm
third
not
one.
caring. I'm not. Yeah,
Graduation, right? No.
That was Graduation.
The fantasy one.
I don't like.
You don't like the fantasy?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I respect it. I like songs on it. It sounds like a soundtrack to me. It doesn't sound like a cohesive body of work.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what it was designed as. Like, it came out with a movie, the Runway.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
But Kanye had given us 3 cohesive bodies of work in a row. That's what I was expecting.
Right.
I didn't like 808s and Heartbreaks.
At all.
I think Yeezus is horrible. I like moments on Life of Pablo, but this sparse, like you said, RZA, like production, it's lazy to me. Like, you need to go back to whoever was ghost producing your beats, and you was tweaking it. I mean, everybody does it. It's very few producers that sit in the room by themselves. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has them people that they work with. It's just whether you credit them or not.
No, but I'll say this about dude. Like, I think he was still doing all his work until he got into the other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you that's not true.
When he started making the sneakers and the clothes and just getting distracted.
He been making sneakers.
You know what I'm saying?
He was making sneakers in 2007.
The Louis Vuitton shit and all that back then.
Yeah, he was making sneakers in 2007.
Okay.
But I know for a fact there was a beat that Kanye put on a project and they got sued for sample clearance and he didn't know what the sample was. That lets me know that you didn't produce the beat. It was a very obvious sample.
Okay.
It wasn't something like super obscure. It was like, boom, boom. Okay, that's that. It was like, It was that. So, and that was an offshoot. I'm not saying on his own projects he wasn't producing it. But Kanye's always had help. Like, I ain't knocking that. It is what it is. But, yo, we appreciate y'all listening, man. We about to sign off and listen to this Funkmaster Flex freestyle. I really want to know what Pusha said. Yes. For sure. We appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate y'all watching us. Please subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or any other podcast app that you're on. We're on iHeartMedia. We're on Spotify. We're on everywhere you can find podcasts. So make sure y'all subscribe, rate, and review. It is imperative. It is important. Make sure you follow us on Day One Radio on all your social media. And we'll see you next week with another dope show. Peace.